You'll sell your soul to another man, thinking that'll do what the other can't. And you intelligent, so what you doing then? It didn't work, he was angry, and then he left you with a baby. They all say you crazy, and you may be, or maybe you hurt. Maybe life has threw you in the dirt, picked you up, shook you off, threw you down again, kicked you more, walked away like it didn't hurt. But love yourself though. It doesn't matter where the others go. It doesn't matter what they think they know. You carry you and that's all you know. Now it's time for you to learn and grow. Get stronger every day until you know. They left you down, but you got it though. You getting stronger, yo. I don't know you. You getting stronger though. I don't want you. I don't trust you until I trust me. Love yourself, love yourself. You got to keep you strong. Love yourself, love yourself. You got to keep going on. Whoa.
Happy so. Just waiting for a few more people to come in here. So, gonna listen to a few more sounds from Queen Sanaa. Then we're gonna get into it. But while we're waiting, go ahead and hit that like button. Show us sis some love. Share it with your friends. Let's get a big crowd in here today. We're gonna talk about how to stay calm, how to get calm, and how to stay calm. While we get in there, just going to listen to a little bit of Misunderstood by Queen Sanaa. And as always, you can find Queen Sanaa music at qsqueensanaa.com. No www. Yeah, that's 4 of them. I meant 3, but you know what I meant. Misunderstood, Queen Sanaa.
Incomplete. I don't wanna hurt no anymore. I've been misunderstood. I've been misunderstood, understood. I'm tired of being misunderstood. You swear that you hear what I'm saying, but you don't hear every word. Gotta get this understood. Cause if you don't solve the problem, then I promise you're gonna lose me for good. I don't wanna hurt no anymore. I don't wanna hurt you anymore. But I've been misunderstood. Said I promised that I would do what I could. Then you violated, do you think I'm a fool? Silly, you wonder what I'ma do. Well, I'm gonna draw the line. I reclaim my time. I know that I'm only on your mind, cause I'm doing fine. Ooh, you got me misunderstood. misunderstood. I've been misunderstood, understood. I've been 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 misunderstood. I've been misunderstood. I don't wanna hurt no anymore.
Hey, hey, happy Sunday. Welcome to everyone who just joined me. If you have not already, go ahead and hit that like button. You said you hit the like button.
Stop the cap.
You know, doggone well. But if you haven't already, please do go and hit that like button. Let's get that out of here and show you my face. Hey. So, welcome. If this is your first time, welcome to the Just Live podcast. Today we're just going to talk about remaining stress free, how to stay calm, and what I want to do first of all is ask a question, a quick poll. If you have ever done deep breathing techniques, put up a 1 in the chat. If you are not sure if you've done deep breathing techniques, put up a 2 in the chat. And if you have the thought of what the hell are deep breathing techniques, put up a 3 in the chat. I see a few ones. Let me know, because if you don't know what I'm talking about, you have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm going to teach you something today. Maybe it might be a little corny to some people, but what I think is even more corny, and this is just my personal opinion, is grown adults who don't know how to cope with anger, stress, disappointment, big feelings is what they call it when you're younger. The truth of the matter is a lot of adults have really not learned how to process. So what I'm going to start with is what's up, Lady Naveau? First of all, I'm going to start with my chat. What's good, Lady Naveau? Thank you for popping through. It's always good to see you here. Princessa, my moderator, always holding it down. Jay Cook, I see you. Strolling through. Always nice to have you strolling through. Opulent Jade with your liquid sunshine. I hope you're staying dry. Happy Sunday to you as well. All right. Thank you, everyone who already hit the like button. If you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. So, the first thing we're going to talk about is the top 10 stressors, right? And how to cope with them. So, in 2023, the top 10 stressors in order are death of a loved one. It's number 1. Number 2, divorce or separation. And I won't hold you. That could include a major breakup, especially if you've been together for years, right? Number 3, moving, buying or selling a home. Even for calm people, that can really be stressful. Number 4, major illness or injury. major illness or injury. Number 5, job loss. Your job sometimes feels like your identity, doesn't it? Number 6, marriage. It's a good stressor, yes, in some ways, but marriage also comes with a lot of stress. I know my married folk could chime in the chat on that one. Number 7, increased financial obligations and decisions involving money. Bills, bills, bills. Yes. Number 8, retirement. I mean, you would think retirement is fun, but again, it's a major life change, and a lot of people kind of build their identity around their jobs. So, yeah, that could be stressful. Number 9, caring for an elderly or sick family member. It says that it's physically and emotionally draining, taking a massive toll on people. Number 10, dun, 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 traumatic event, natural disaster, crime, violence, and of course now pandemic is included in there. So let's see, what say you in the comments? Oh, hey, how are you doing? Yeah, let's keep that chat jumping. Top 10 stressors, how to cope with them. So we're going to figure out how to calm down from the top 10 stressors. And the first thing I'm going to do is show you a little clip. Y'all know I'm not the technological professional here, so I'll do my best, but I want to show you something about what kind of tends to build that stress. So bear with me, and here we go.
Clark earned a BA in economics and an MBA at Harvard.
I spent over 20 years leading teams at Fortune 500 companies and startups in Silicon Valley.
But she felt alone.
I was usually the only woman in the room, the only Black woman or Black person in the room, on the floor, at the whole company. And as a result, I experienced a number of microaggressions.
Working hard to prove her worth, she eventually burned out,
which led me to go to India to train in tools like breathwork, mindfulness.
Z wrote this book, Black People Breathe, containing relaxation techniques she learned in India, which now helps her deal with challenges. For example, microaggressions. Z gives us the dictionary's definition.
It's a common interaction that subtly or unconsciously or unintentionally expresses a prejudiced attitude towards a member of a marginalized group.
Z says coworkers have made comments like this.
Wow, you speak so well. Or, you went to Harvard? Or, are you the new diversity hire? These subtle comments, actually, they hurt a lot.
And she remembers a conversation with a higher up.
I had a boss when I first started a job, and he pulled me aside and he said, I just want you to know I didn't hire you because you're Black.
She says she knows his intentions were good, but it still stung.
Also, reaching in to touch my hair. I'd say that's also something that happens a lot, and people need to respect other people's personal space.
Next, Z says the chronic stress from microaggressions can impact health.
Studies show that microaggressions, racism, those are the direct cause of our higher rates of high blood pressure and heart disease in African Americans.
She says racial tension can also accelerate aging.
Did you know that Dr. Martin Luther King was 39 when he passed, but the autopsy showed that he had a heart of a 60-year-old?
And mental health.
It can cause anxiety, depression, hypervigilance.
Here's how meditative tools can help.
What I found was, one, a sense of inner peace that I had never experienced in my entire life.
When Z returned from India, she realized these tools helped.
Whether I was in traffic or whether I was at work experiencing microaggressions.
Here's a breathing exercise she uses the most.
I use 4-7-8 breathing. That's when you inhale for a count of 4, you hold your breath for a count of 7, and you exhale for a count of 8.
It stimulates part of your nervous system. You know, the fight or flight reflex we all have?
This breathing practice helps to calm the mind, calm the nervous system.
Z says just a few minutes can make a big impact.
More focused. Be less triggered when you get that email that didn't land right.
And that's a look at a book that may help people achieve more inner peace so they can breathe a bit easier.
So raise your hand if you can relate. How many of those things that Z named can you relate to? I know personally, I've experienced a lot of microaggression in the workplace. And truth be told, back when my emotional IQ was a lot lower, I did a lot of pushing back too. So just not to give too much, but they used to call me Sanaa X at work. It was what it was because I wasn't having it. But I'm also learning that there are much better ways to, I guess, protect my energy from other people's mess, because 9 times out of 10 people are projecting onto you because they don't know how to cope with their stuff either. So it becomes a cycle, you know? Uh, yeah, I definitely feel you, Opulent Jade. Sometimes you got to be able to laugh at it. And truth be told, laughter is a form of stress relief. Jim Savage, what's up, man? Y'all, my producer, Jim Savage, give it up for him. Yeah, they did. They called me Sanaa X because listen, oh my God. I laugh at myself now, but at that time, anybody could get it. Professors at school could get it. My boss, I did not care. Don't come at me any kind of way. It was what it was. At that time, I was not afraid of getting fired. Maybe I should have had more of a healthy fear of consequences, but at the time, that was it was a way to protect myself. It felt like a protective factor, or a way to protect myself, not a protective factor. But as we know now, that's actually a sign of emotional maturity. Immaturity, not only is it a sign of emotional immaturity, it's a sign of low abilities to cope, low coping skills. So we definitely want to learn as adults healthy coping skills so that we can pass them on to our children, because our children are watching. We know they're watching, and they're going to be adults one day. And if we don't have children, it's just healthy. It's healthy for your heart. It's healthy for your mind. It's healthy for your body. If you don't manage, you definitely are not going to age well either. It will show up on your face. It will show up in the way your body handle stress, unhealthy weight gain in some folk, or just, unhealthy weight loss just because of stress. So there's one thing that the good sis said, and fellas, I do have a video for the fellas too. Don't feel left out. This is not just girl talk here. This is actually for everybody. I want to see all my people healthy and happy, bottom line. So she mentioned 478 breathing, right? And so what I want to do, it might feel corny. That's okay. It doesn't feel natural in the beginning. But what I want to do is go through a guided 478 breathing session. And what I love about 478 breathing is you can do it when you're driving, you can do it when you're in the tub, you can do it when you're sitting in your bed, you can do it at the dinner table if you just are sick of this ish and have had enough, or if you just need to ground and calm down. You can do 478 breathing. So, what I want you to do, first of all, is listen to my lady princess of the powerful, and stop what you're doing and share this live stream with everybody you know and everybody you don't know. Why not? We want to heal everybody. Some people can't be reached, but we can do our best, right? And we can start with ourselves, right? That's the healthy model. So get in a comfortable position. I'm gonna get comfortable here. And what you're gonna do is breathe in to the count of 4, hold it for the count of 7, and blow it out for the count of 8. Now, I don't know what your lungs are like, so I'm not here to judge anyone, but this can also help you build healthy lungs if you don't have them. So let's see. Do I want to play some music while we're doing this? I think I do. I think I do. I don't know what I want to play, y'all. I mean, come on. All right, I think that. Hmm, here we go. So we're going to get started. We're going to breathe into the count of 4. We're going to hold it for 7, and we're going to breathe out for 8. I'm going to demonstrate. Okay, got a little lightheaded. I did. I won't hold you. But let's all do this together, and I will put on some music so we can breathe together. You can close your eyes, you can keep them open so you can see me looking weird. It's up to you, but on the count of three, let's breathe together. Okay? Okay. One, two, three.
Whoa. Somebody that I met, a spark of flame that didn't last. And oh my, just a little bit. I just wanna hug just a little bit. Kiss and touch and make love a little bit. I'm ready to love just a little bit. Bringing me joy.
Okay, so if that made you feel calm, put a one up in the chat. That made you feel calm. You ever saw those strolling through? You know. Okay. If it made you feel lightheaded or kind of dizzy, put a two up in the chat. And if you didn't know what the hell you were doing, just put a three up in the chat. And that's okay, because practice makes perfect. So, let me get that out of there. Okay. So that is 4-7-8 breathing. And what that does is help you ground, calm down. I feel relaxed now, y'all. I'm ready to take a nap. Kind of center yourself and, kind of get a handle on what's going on in the moment. It's very helpful. I see someone's in the chat. I hope you feel calm as well. 4-7-8 breathing. So we talked about the top 10 stressors, right? And naturally, breathing is not going to make those things go away. But when I see a bill that's a little higher than I expected it to be, I immediately put it down and start breathing. I don't know about y'all, because I got to stay calm. I have to stay calm. I am a hothead by nature. I don't know about anyone else here. I like to be accountable for who I am, and my spaz button used to have a very light trigger. Yes, little old me. Can you can you believe it? My spaz trigger used to just be, very explosive, like a volcano, and now it's more like a, yeah, because now it's more like a, I don't know, a light fizzle, a controllable fizzle. But what helps with that, honestly, is being able to breathe, being able to step back from the circumstance and check in with yourself, right? Make sure everything's okay with you. So, fellas, I did tell you that I have something for you. I did say that I have something for you. And so, what I'm going to do right now is roll a little clip about how this young man dealt with his anxiety. That's another, one of our emotional responses to stressors. And so, take a look here, and I will have those links in the show notes for you if you want to go back and revisit any of the clips that I post. So, here we go. This is a story of a black man with anxiety.
Bottom teaches us more than we give it credit for.
Yeah.
Right. You mentioned your rock bottom moment was that I've had very similar things. Driving used to be a release to me, and it got to a point where I was afraid to drive. In one instance, I was home alone and I was like, yo, I'm scared to be home by myself. I'm going to drive to my mom's house. I lived in Timonium, so I lived in like northern Baltimore County. My mom lives, in West Baltimore. So I'm about to jump on the highway to go to my mom's house. She's like, yo, just come to the crib. Everything will be fine. I get in the car. I'm like 5 minutes from home. I'm like, yo, I can't make it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to, if I get on the highway, like, I'm stuck.
Yeah.
Like, there's no hotels close by. Like, once I get off of 83 and I hit that 695, like, I got to get to, like, Pikesville before I can even get to anything, like, remotely close to, what I would need. Or I would have to, like, bang 83 South and hit, Sanaa,
Right.
But it was all too far fetched. So I called my mom and I'm in tears. I'm crying. I'm like, Shirley, I can't come.
Right.
Like, I can't do it.
Right.
And she ended up driving out to my house, which took like 45 minutes just to be there with me, because I couldn't leave to go to where anyone else was. And then, I was afraid to be by myself. It's monophobia is what it is. It's the fear of being alone.
Wait a minute, what is it called?
Monophobia.
Monophobia.
Yeah, it's the fear of being by yourself.
Okay.
Which is associated with anxiety.
Okay.
And then the other instance, similarly, as I was actually home and my mother was coming to pick me up to take me to go to lunch, just to help me feel better. And I wasn't home alone, but I was trapped in a room. Like, I locked myself in my bedroom, laying on my floor, like by my bed, crying, and couldn't understand why. So it was interesting, like the question that you had asked, like what happens that you're able to accept it? Like, for me, I didn't have a choice.
Talk to me about that.
Like, the rock bottom of my anxiety and my addiction, which ultimately, resulted from being on prescription medication. It faced me with my own humility. It was the biggest slice of humble pie that a human being can ever experience. Right. And it's like, and I always say, like, for a person that actually has an anxiety disorder and experiences chronic anxiety attacks or chronic panic attacks, like, being faced with your own mortality on a day-to-day basis has a funny way of humbling you. Right. So it's like the only way for you to even have a fighting chance of getting yourself out of it is to accept that you have anxiety, to accept that it exists, and to accept that it does not define who you are.
Right.
If you can't, once you get into that rock bottom place, if you don't have the tenacity or the ability to formulate your thinking to be that, you'll never make it out of it.
Yeah.
It will continue to own you. Yeah. It will continue to possess you, and it will continue to control you.
Right.
So it's like having the strength to face it. Right. And I don't know where that comes from. Maybe it comes from the belief that tomorrow can be better than today. Maybe it comes from the belief that, God is not going to put more on us than we are capable of dealing with. Maybe it comes from the repetitive belief, of something higher than us that has given us the strength to face it. But I think it's very challenging to face it until you've gone to that rock bottom place.
Right.
So there are a couple of things that he said. And no, I'm not interrupting because I'm a woman. Stop it. Don't do that. But there are a couple of things that he said that I want to address before they kind of get lost in the rest of this conversation, because this is a real deep discussion these two men getting into. And I don't know about y'all, but the way society portrays the men to be so unemotional and incapable of feeling feelings, I like listening to discussions like this personally because it gives me some insight. And the way society portrays black women to be so strong and so hard, and I like listening to discussions like the first one because it makes it very real, to kind of manage the way those outside influences kind of affect the way we feel and the way we process, right? Peace, Natalie. Good to see you here. Yes, our anxiety will lie to us, and that's facts. So, two things that he said that I want to touch on. I know we're about halfway through, so I want to make sure I get through everything. But he talked about his addiction, and he talked about prescription medications, right? So I hear a lot of people saying, like, why would you want to use meds? Sometimes you can get stuck on them, and you start to rely on them for functioning, and that's real. It can happen. You can develop a physiological dependency on the medicines that are designed to help you stay calm, or help you not be depressed, or to help you focus, even things like that. And then you start to have these physiological responses to the medication that's designed to make you better, right? I mean, that's just real, right? Um, so one of the main reasons I'm doing this show, I'm just reiterating, is because it's very, very, very important to have tools to regulate yourself, to calm yourself down, to get through these temporary crises, is what I'm going to call them. I don't know about y'all, but my anxiety used to be so bad that I'd be on the highway having a full panic attack, like, oh my God, I'm going to expire in this vehicle because I can't breathe. Would really have to pull over and solely rely on breathing techniques just to be able to get back on the road and make it home and collapse in my bed. That's just real. And anxiety is typically a response to some deeper ish, right? So, yeah, it's really important to be able to manage, to function, to just process, right? Um, And we are, hey, Scum TV, what's good? Thank you for stopping through. And we all know that these things are going to keep happening. Come on, let's just talk about it. What are some of the most frequent negative emotions that we have? Anger, emptiness, right? Frustration, feelings of inadequacy, helplessness, fear, guilt, loneliness, depression, feelings of being overwhelmed. Hello. Resentment, failure, sadness, even jealousy. There are so many negative emotions to feel, and sometimes it's because of unmet needs, right? Sometimes, again, it's because of poor coping skills. Sometimes it's major difficulties associated with your circumstances. Sometimes it's because other people are being manipulative, and that manipulation does guide our emotional responses at times, right? So, first and foremost, y'all, let me look y'all in the eye. First and foremost, it is okay to feel what you feel. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. It is okay to feel what you feel. Okay? Let me just give you a second to tell yourself. Tell yourself that right now. It's okay to feel what I feel. Sanaa, it's okay to feel what you feel. You're a human being. Part of being human is having feelings. But the challenges that we have as human beings are not being able to cope with those negative emotions, not being able to handle those big feelings that happen. So we do things like 478 breathing. I want to listen to what else the brother has to say. So I'm going to put him back up here. Yes, it's okay to feel what you feel. Here we go.
And one thing that that just occurred to me, even in telling, part of my own story, and Raven, you had started to speak to this already, is the support element, right? Because my wife, being the blessing that she is to me, she never judged me for it. She never made me feel like less than in all. I never felt that. And we're men here, so we could talk about, you know, how women can do you. You know what I mean? Like if you're not showing up in the way that they're expecting you to show up, and they kind of give you that look like, come on, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I can't even respect you right now. You know what I mean? Like, you know how that can be, but she never gave me that. She just stood there, you know, or sat there with me in those times. And there were several times, you know, and you talk about this often, how, you know, you would go to the emergency room or sit, you know, in your car outside of the emergency
sleep in
room.
my car, yeah.
You know, and so I took a few trips to the emergency room thinking that I was about to have a heart attack. And she would show up, you know, if we were, you know, we weren't together at that time, she would, you know, show up and just be there with me, but never judge me. And similarly, Raven, you just talked about how you had a friend that was there to support you and to cover you in those moments. And one of the things that we've talked about before is even the script, so to speak, even the language to use when you are trying to support someone that is dealing with a panic attack or an anxiety in some form or fashion. And one of the things that I've been saying recently is my script is simply, are you okay? Because oftentimes when you see someone going through something, your first kind of inclination is to either grab them in some way, you know, physically hold them, or, you know, is everything, you know, and it becomes a whole scene. Or some people kind of approach it from more of a judgmental aspect where they try to figure out for the person what they're going through. Hey, it looks like you're this, you know, do you need this, that sort of thing. But simply for me, it's, are you okay? Because sometimes I don't understand yet what I'm going through. Or even if I do understand what I'm going through, I'm not ready to talk about it yet. So, you know, if someone tries to jump ahead of me and tell me what they think I'm going through, it just completely causes me to shut down. So I think one of the important things through this entire experience is for the people around those that are experiencing anxiety to know what to do. And that can be very challenging. That can be very difficult because oftentimes people mean well, they just don't know any better.
And the other side of it too is like, you know, those that are going through the anxiety in the moment may not know what they need.
Right.
You know, I know for myself, I didn't, it's awesome that you and Raven both had that support. I didn't, you know, like everything for me was met with judgment, which is why I turned to pills as hard as I did, because
Yo, how many times have you known somebody that was really going through some stuff, right? And instead of just checking in with them, you had to have the scoop. I need the scoop. I need to know what's up, what's happening. And not really consider that that person might need some time to process themselves. You know, maybe they couldn't really put words on what was happening in that moment, or maybe they weren't ready to talk about it. Maybe it was heavy at that time for them. You know, how many of us kind of just jump right in and try to diagnose it or try to fix it, or, you know, that's a human thing to do. By the way, yeah, if you're enjoying this show, y'all, look, my Cash App is on the screen. QS Queen Sanaa. I'm gonna always appreciate the donations, and don't forget to hit that like button. I love it when you like the show. And the more the likes, the better the content. Y'all know how this works. Y'all been here before. The more the likes, the better the content. But when we're dealing with stuff like anxiety, right? Dealing with stuff like depression, right? Dealing with stuff like stress, right? How many of us kind of just jump in and like try to fix it for the people instead of giving them time to process? So I want to listen a little more to what he has to say, and then we're going to talk about some positive emotions you can use to kind of replace those negative feelings that we go through as human beings. So stay with me. Thank you for showing up, and here we go.
that was the only time that people actually enjoyed my company. You know, if I was going through my anxiety or feeling a bit of overwhelm and I reacted a certain way, it was like, hey, did you take your medicine today?
Wow.
So it was like, okay, cool. Well, fuck it. I'll just take my pills. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm Debbie Downer, because I'm not on these pills. So I was met with judgment, and I was met with criticism. Because anxiety pushed me to become someone that other people didn't recognize.
Yeah.
So because they didn't recognize it, they didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was pushed further into what I thought was helping me against it,
right,
which was actually causing me a different dilemma.
Right.
It was creating an entirely different disease.
Right.
Wow. Wow. That's deep. And I hear you, Princessa. You've been guilty of that before. I have too. And I've been on the other side of it, the person going through something, and the conversation is, I don't know, it's just one of those, feels like extra judgment. Like you mad judgy right now, my guy. And that's not what a person needs when they're experiencing these kinds of things. Please do interact with me in the chat. If any of this is resonating with you, let me know. If you have any thoughts about what you've seen so far, let me know. And I appreciate the male and the female perspective. Of course, I would love to hear from you all if you have some more insight. Um, Jim definitely was like, I know about anxiety and stress. Tell me about it, man. It's a beast, and it can be really heavy to carry, especially when you have a lot of other responsibilities. It's like, where do you have that time to stop and care for you and kind of let your burdens down? So, another technique that I learned about recently was, push your shoulders as far down from your ears as possible without touching them. So, just sit tall as you can, right? And take your shoulders and push them down as far as you can. Feels a little weird at first, especially if you have limited core strength. We won't talk about it. Let's just not talk about it. But push your shoulders down as far as possible and exhale. Get that burden off your back, literally. Okay. So far, we've talked about the 478 breathing technique. We've talked about pushing your shoulders down. And those are just two of many. Natalie says, certainly from a professional and personal end, it certainly resonates. Yeah. Yeah. And tell us a little more about the way that it resonates with you. I would love to hear that. Again, you hit that like button, please, and share it with your family and your friends and anyone that you know will benefit from learning how to cope. It's a tough world, y'all. Tapping does help, Opulent Jade. I actually was going to do that and I decided not to today. But when you tap with affirmations, right? I am strong. I am okay. I am happy. I am enough. I am blessed. I am calm. And you continue to tap. That does have an absolutely calming effect over your circumstances. So we talked about the 478 breathing technique. We talked about pushing your shoulders down from your ears. You don't have to have super core strength, it just helps. We talked about tapping, the tapping method. And you can do it with one hand or you can do it with both hands, whatever feels good to you. I like to start up here, whatever works for you. YouTube University has a lot of great tutorials on tapping. And finally, since we have about 15 minutes left, I want to not stop, but I want to go into some positive emotions that you can tap into to replace some of those negative emotions that get us riled up, worked up in that zone. I would say out of your zone of resilience. If you look at the community resiliency model, which is called CREM, you have a zone of resilience. You can feel what you feel, but you can stay within these limits of resilience. And What happens when you're outside of the zone of resilience is you find yourself in the high zone, you're manic, you're angry, you're stressed for way too long, or you find yourself in the low zone. You're down, you're depressed, you're sad, you feel nothing for way too long. So you want to practice staying within your zone of resilience. And so some of those positive emotions that you can tap into, let's see. The top one is love. It's my favorite one. Another positive emotion is serenity. It's that divine calm that some people are able to tap into. Another one is forgiveness, awe. What does awe mean? It's a word that some people don't use often. So, awe is like a feeling of reverential respect mixed with fear or wonder. I don't know if I want to say fear in this sense, but definitely wonder, a sense of wonderment. Joy is one. Tap into that joy. Let's see. Interest. So finding a subject of interest is positive. Hope. Are you able to tap into hope? I'm working on that one. Pride. Maybe not in the puffed up way, but in the way of feeling that heightened sense of accomplishment. Sometimes that's necessary, and it definitely helps with building self esteem, which is important when it comes to coping tools. Amusement is one. Inspiration is absolutely a positive feeling that people have, a positive emotion. So I will say this, if you have any more, I would love for you to add them in the chat. Opulent Jade, you're right. Tapping on your face or your chest or your jaws is very helpful. And Princessa, you tell people to relax their jaw and their hand also. Yeah, yeah, because that jaw gets a little tight when you get upset, doesn't it? That's true. Okay. All right. Okay, Opulent Jade, you say faith. Faith is a positive emotion. I agree with that. And yes, listen to my girl Princessa after the show. Yes, go and look at the videos. They will be in the show notes. Give me about 24 hours to upload the different videos to the show notes and a couple of blogs where you can look at the positive and negative emotions, how to identify them, and even some information about the CREM method. Now, I will say this. I don't know how many of you have heard of ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences. Um, but CNN has this study about adverse childhood experiences and how they shape the way we cope and process as adults. So the highest score you can get is an 8. And if you're like me and you have an ACE score of 8, yes, I've been through a lot, you know that it's very important to be able to find ways to cope so that you can find resiliency, so that you can be successful in life and not be burdened by your adversities or your negative experiences or those things that cause you to feel negative emotions. Is super important. So, if you're not familiar, go to CNN. You can take the ACEs quiz. Um, Also, like I said, I'll put a link to the community resiliency model. Very important. They have one for children, they have one for parents, they have one for people just in the community, they have one for teachers. And before we get into how will you just live, I'm going to talk about, y'all, the fashion designer in me has to do this. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to talk about calming colors. Why? Because I think it's fun to dress for my mood. So, calming colors apparently are blue, green, orange, pink, purple, my favorite color, hint, 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 gray, white, violet, sky blue, lavender, turquoise, lilac, tan, and mauve. So I don't know if those colors are for clothing or for wall decor or what, but apparently, according to the Googlays, those are calming colors. So tap into what calms you down. Tap on yourself if you need to. Speak those positive affirmations. Take some time to breathe deep and kind of decompress from the day. If you liked any of the information that I shared with you today, go on over to Cash App, QS Queen Sanaa. Hit me up. Small donation. I'll take $1, I'll take $1,000,000. Doesn't matter. But you don't have to pay to get this valuable information from me, I promise. All I want is for you to hit the like button, because as you know, the science is the more the likes, the better the content. It's scientific, guys. Just take my word for it. So, it's time to end our show with how will you just live? All right? Opulent JD say purple, blue, pink, and green. Calm you down. Yeah, purple's my favorite color. Y'all see the background. Purple is my go-to, definitely, to help me stay calm. And yes, you can see all my previous live streams if you go to youtube.com/C/QS Queen Sanaa for those who are visually impaired, just to call it out for you. And how will we just live? How will I just live? I will just live by breathing before I pop off. Because, at my age, it's important that I know how to not pop off. It's important that I know how to tap into me and find that divine calm that came from who knows where, came from my source, and to just and woo-saw before I whoop ass. That's how I'm going to just live. How are you going to just live? Let me know in the chat. I just want to thank you for coming through to my show. Thank you very much. Make sure you hit up that Cash App, if you will, kindly and please and thank you. And today, because the first positive emotion was love, I'm going to send you off with Being in Love. Not because it's my favorite song, not because it's my most recent single, but because let's practice working in that love space. Love is the universal language. So here we go. I'm going to get it together.
I'm just being in love. 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 Know what it takes to be in love. They don't know what it takes. They don't know what it takes to be in love. They don't know what it takes to be in love. Oh, we both know what it takes. We both know what it takes to be in love. Gonna be in love. This is something I can't control it. How you just can't call it. I just know how I feel inside. I got love on my mind. You know that I just adore you, and you know that I'll come before you. I just know how you feel inside. I got love on my mind. I'm just being in love. 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 I'm just being in love.